to do is introduce to you our team of college counselors. We have a wealth of experience in our office and great joy in working with kids. Just a little bit of a brief introduction. I'm Darnell Haywood. As Beth mentioned, I have been here for 6 years. Prior to that, I worked at Columbus School for Girls for 6 years in college counseling. And before that, I worked at Kenyon College in the admissions office. So I have lots and lots of experience in college counseling. Just to give you a little bit about me, I have two boys at Academy. So I have one in middle school and one in lower school. And I will mention them briefly in the presentation today, but I think pretty soon I'm going to have to stop doing that. Might get around. But to give you a little bit of that, I live down in German Village. I have a puppy, so a very busy life, and love my work.
Jen Fitzpatrick, my second year at Academy. Before this, I worked in college counseling at Squigley Academy in Pittsburgh, similar pre-K through 12 school. We moved here when my husband took a job at Denison, and I was probably the only person in all of Central Ohio that was glad that Chris Jones got a job in Los Angeles, because it was the perfect place for us. I have a daughter in the first grade, and I don't have a puppy because I think that will push us over the edge, because the first grade girl is enough. We live in Westerville. We love this community. We have just felt so welcome here in the last 18 months. And we also want you to get to know Jill Ruby.
Hi, I'm Jill Ruby. I'm the office coordinator. I've been at Academy 5 years. I actually used to be in the development office. I was the alumni director for 3 years, and then I found out I was having twins a couple years ago, and this job opened up, and it's been wonderful to have a little bit more flexibility through the year and not traveling as much. So I love working with Darnell and Jen. I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed working with a lot of your children. It's a great place to be. As I said, I'm a busy person. I have 2-year-old twins. They just turned 2. And we live up by Jen, up in the Westerville, Galena area, and proud to be at Academy. So much involvement, just a great place, a lot of good energy here. So thanks.
So just to give you a little bit about the philosophy of college counseling at Academy, this may be a bit different than what you think it is. We do not see our work as what college a kid goes to. That's not the score sheet for our office. That's not what we see as the across the stage goal for what happens. Really what we see is the culmination of their academic experience, and we see our job as shepherding them through the steps to get to college, and we look at ways how they can grow. What we start with in college counseling is, how do we teach kids to learn more about themselves? Who am I? What do I believe in? What are my goals and aspirations for the future? What experiences do I need to have to grow into the best adult that I can be? And really what we are looking at is, and this is what's so much fun about our work, is a very diverse group of students in our school. Students who come in and say, I know I want to study this is what I want to do, this is how I want to do it. They enter this process and they fall in line that way. Other kids have no idea, don't even know what's out there, not sure what they're interested in, have a wide range of different things that could help them grow and learn. And our job is to really, we see, help them reflect on who they are, research what's out there, what colleges and universities are out there, which ones would be a good match for me, what are the differences, all women's schools, engineering schools, business, in-state, out-of-state, technical institutes, what do these things mean, and what's out there, and then to interact with adults. How do I present myself to colleges and universities? How do I tell them my story? How do I get used to picking up the phone and calling and saying, gosh, my scores might not have arrived, can you help me figure this out? These are big steps for kids. How do you interview? All of these things, we really want them to grow because we know these will make them better adults. This is a skill set that they can learn through our process, that then later on they can employ in whatever they go into, wherever they go. And then in the end, taking a whole bunch of information, making a decision, hoping it's a good one, and also understanding it's okay if it's not. And one thing that I think is really worth mentioning is there's all sorts of information out there right now. Does anybody know about what percentage of college students transfer during some point in their college career? Anybody want to Go for a guess.
50%.
50%. Actually, a little less than that. It's 1/3. But 1/3 of students will transfer. What you will find is that at Academy, our numbers, I would say conservatively about 8 to 10% of the kids will actually transfer. So that's 1 in 10. You know, you'll line up 10 kids, 1 will transfer. So our job is not, gosh, this has to be the perfect fit. Because actually, as we all know, we've either gotten in jobs or chosen a roommate or chosen a spouse and it didn't work out. Guess what? You have to learn to bounce back, to look and see how do I pull up my bootstraps, move on, make a different decision, know more about myself.
I love it when Darnell's New Orleans accent. Did anybody get the bootstraps? I also want you to know that kids start at different places. Just this week we're starting to meet with juniors, and I had 3 different appointments yesterday. One said, I'm looking for schools with only this major. One said, I'm looking only at schools where the coach has contacted me. And the other said, I'm only allowed to look at this list that my mom told me. They come with a wide variety of starting points. But I also want to read you some statistics about the senior class because we gave you a profile. And on the back of the profile is a list of colleges. This is last year's senior class where the students went. And in our profession, Darnell and I often have people, usually our relatives, who say, where are the kids going? What's the trend this year? There is no trend. They go all kinds of different places, and we're going to show you a slide about that in a minute. But the current senior class has GPAs that range from a 2.38 to a 4.55. They have SATs on the old 1600 scale that we're used to that range from a 920 to a 1600. They have ACTs that range from an 18 to a 36. 36 is perfect score. Our averages are around a 1300. Our average ACT is about a 29. But on that spectrum, 2.38 to 4.55, we're committed to helping every kid on that spectrum. It's not just the 4.3 kid. And there are a representative of that in the group. So next we want to start with, when we talk about what you're going to learn from seniors in this process, we actually just surveyed our senior class in November. And we asked them a bunch of pointed questions about what was helpful in the process, what events did they attend, what information would they have that they would want to pass on to students, to parents, and if they could do things differently, what would they do? And we were really pleased with our results. We had 58 students respond to the survey. Now, we did promise a Chipotle gift card raffle, and that we think helped with our results. But you know, a little bribery, we're not above it every once in a while. And so we asked them to fill this out. And then now we've spent some time mining this research. And what we want to share from you, and what I think is so interesting, is we just took a snapshot of some of what they shared with us, because we think this will be helpful to you. And what I want you to listen to is how different these voices are, how many different ideas they have, and really for us, the insights of children. I mean, like really listening to these kids. And so Jen is going to start with reading the advice that the students had for students. Okay, and then we also have some that the students gave advice for parents.
For parents.
Okay, so this student said, and it's anonymous, I'm not going to tell you who it is because we don't know, visit with college counselors often look at specific academic programs at school before applying or even visiting. If possible, when you visit at school, get a one-on-one tour with a recent Columbus Academy grad, especially if it's the second semester of college. Freshmen are used to the school, so they're saying don't go too early, right? Get one of those books, Fisk Guide, Princeton, to find colleges that sound interesting, then go on visits during the second semester of your junior year. This will leave you time for additional summer visits if any more schools of interest come up. If possible, visit on a school day so that you can get a vibe of what students are like during a typical day of classes. Okay, now I'm going to go with parents, advice to parents. Leave them alone. They're stressed out enough. You just need to take them to college visits, but don't be breathing down their neck once they start to apply. Oh, and get them an ACT or SAT tutor, even if they don't want one. It makes a huge difference. Okay. Advice to a student, make a calendar for all of your deadlines and plan ahead, especially if you're going into a program in the arts because of the audition. Parent advice, don't take photos of your children on college tours. If your child
disruptive in the college process, you may need to prod him or her, but at the same time, realize that it's a stressful time. So if they are working, there is no need to put them under extra pressure.
Again, to a student, do not fight the future. I think that's really insightful for a senior to say to other juniors. Do not fight the future. I naturally resist change, and college is not my highest priority in life. I enjoy high school, and I don't want to leave. Do not fight the college process. It will hurt you.
And then this is advice to parents. Don't pressure your child to get certain tasks done. My parents said, I know you want to get this application done by this time. So what is your plan for getting that done? Actually, that is, to me, that is the best question. How can we help our kids realize the steps they need to take to get the work done? Instead of saying, get it done. Listen to this. I know you want to get this application done by this time. So what is your plan for getting that done? That's really good.
Student to student, be open-minded and don't get too caught up in the status / what anyone else thinks. Just go for what makes sense and feels right. Also remember, it's not totally permanent.
Parents, it's good to be nervous, but your children are responsible young adults who are already stressed. So try to be relaxed with them once in a while.
Get your entire application done at a minimum 2 days before the deadline. We say 2 weeks, but students do. Also, go to the college counseling classes, period. Seriously, period.
Support them. Don't push them towards one school or another. Let them make their own decision. But if they feel stressed, try and help them. Give them a cookie or a piece of candy. Overall, be supportive.
At least I didn't say a car, right? Okay. Student, don't stress out and come into the process knowing you'll almost inevitably change your mind many, many times.
Be supportive of your child's decision and look ahead into financial aid requirements. Financial aid is a parent's job. That's an insightful one as well.
This is a long one, so I'm going to paraphrase. Know what you want in general, sort of an area of study, what environment you like, and then ask yourself some certain questions. Can you live there? Do you feel comfortable? Do you like how the classes are taught when you walk around and observe? Are they big? Are they small? Will you have to participate? Sometimes it's easier to start with what you don't like or don't want, and then work backwards from there. Visit as many campuses as you can. I visited maybe 30. Wonderful. The thing, they really want you to know this. The thing that I found to be important that most people don't think about is going around the town area that the college is in to see what stores, restaurants, other places are around the town. So that you'll know how close things are to you need. How far is the CVS? Where will you do your laundry? What else can you eat besides the campus food?
Do not nag your kids to work on apps. It doesn't help them and it stresses them out even more. Leave this task up to the students because their choice and desire to go to college comes from their desires, not yours. If they don't take applications seriously, then that is their problem. I have seen this situation become very nasty with other families. On one occasion, a parent wanted the student to take a break from their own birthday party to work on college applications.
This is not the winner of the Chipotle gift card, but you might think that we brought this one. Your counselors are there for you whenever you need them! Exclamation point. Don't be afraid to ask them any questions you have. Also, there is a college for you, even though it may take some time to figure out which one. A lot of time.
Ask your child what you can do for him, her. As stressed out as you are, your child is 100 times more stressed. Be reasonable with your expectations.
Start with a large range of campuses that vary in size and location, and then narrow it down.
Don't nag them. It will all get done in ample time. I procrastinate more than anyone else, and I still finished one day in advance. Okay. So in the last little things that I would tell you, they say if they would do it all over again, the common themes were test prep, higher grades, they would work on their grades, they would start essays earlier, and I thought this was interesting. I would have made sure to meet with people who were studying my field of interest when I went to visit a college campus. And then the last was, my list was large, but it had a lot of similar schools on it. I would have been more open-minded from the start and included a more diverse list of schools.
So this is just a quick snapshot. People, when they're asking us where do they go, every year they go to about between 50 and 60 different colleges, really across the country. That's another popular question people ask, where? What part of the country? really from New England to Florida, the Carolinas, California, last year internationally. There's not one hot spot. Nationally, not at Academy, but nationally the average is you put the pencil down on the map and the majority, 80% of kids will go within 2 hours. That's not necessarily the case here. Kids are used to traveling. They've been traveling since they were little kids, and they're not afraid to get on a plane to go to college.
Okay, the next slide is about, this is a slide that is not meant to scare you. This is not a scare tactic, but we are showing you that there have been shifts in the market. And you will learn more as you go through the process about what the shifts in the marketplace have been. International students, more marketing, ease of applying online, colleges and universities trying to get that one kid from North Dakota to come to their school. There have been lots and lots of shifts in this process. And we share this with you so that you have an understanding of that, but also to show you that the interesting thing that happens is that there are lots of wonderful, wonderful schools, and with higher waters, all boats rise. So essentially, there's a trickle-down effect. The kids who used to go to certain schools then now go to a bunch of other schools, and they're very smart, interesting, thoughtful kids at lots of colleges and universities.
Yeah, we can tell you that anecdotally, the same student 10 years ago that would apply strictly to the Ivies, when we talk about trickle-down, those kids now often are applying to Duke and Vanderbilt and Wash U. So that, with the high, those tides are rising, and these schools have now wonderful breadth of students.
Yes. So then what you see, and this is what we want to show you, when we talk about this and when the media focuses, what they're focusing a lot on is super selective colleges. And really less than 6% of colleges and universities actually admit 25% of their applicants or less. So, but these are the schools that our society tends to focus on. So this is a lot of what you'll hear in the news. There's a lot of what you'll worry about. But we actually want you to know that that's not representative of the colleges and universities that are out there and of all the wonderful places that exist. We also want to let you know that just because you might decide to focus on one of those schools now doesn't mean that your child can get into that school. It's interesting, this is an interesting process because as much as you might want to know where your child will end up, you won't know until the senior year. You can spend all the time you want researching this. And actually, sometimes at the end of this, I think, oh my gosh, a group of parents might be better at our jobs than we are because they spend so much time focusing on the college process. But just because you might know what it takes to get in doesn't mean that your child can get in. And I think the way that I like to talk about this is, it's good to know sort of what's out there and maybe have dreams. As I always say, I thought I would love living, if I had my brothers, I'd live in a Victorian house in the San Francisco Bay Area. But guess what? I live in a turn-of-the-century house in German Village, and I'm very happy. It kind of happens that way. So these are just little slides that we wanted to show you all. We show this to our junior parents sometimes. Be as open to these colleges. We had students in our class matriculate to these schools. This is last year, right? Students matriculate to all of these schools as you are to these schools. There are just a bunch of different options out there. And in the survey, 85% of our seniors said that they had actually ended up researching and in some cases applying to a school that they had not heard of before. So, interesting.
Before we get into the stuff about campus visits and the copy that was advertised to our audience, I think one other thing that we often pay attention to that's really important to both of us is balance and mental health. So we get a lot of questions about, my ninth grader needs to be pushed. I want every honors class on there. And we might take a look at that schedule and think about what's appropriate based on middle school and how they perform. We are always concerned about balance in a student's life and mental health of that student. How much is too much? How much can a person handle? We think it's important to be pushed, but not pushed over the edge.
And also one thing about that, the stress and anxiety that parents feel in this process is real. I mean, I will be here to tell you that you will feel stressed and anxious about this. But part of your job is managing that. Is actually recognizing this is going to be stressful, but how do I do this? We also want to tell you there are lots of fun moments in this. The college tours are just great. I mean, I can remember eating a pint of ice cream with my mother late at night, in a hotel room. And I didn't even apply to the colleges that we visited, but it was just like this great memory of what can happen. and this is a great time for you to get to know your kids.